Look, everyone knows that social media is full of garbage right now. And I am not talking about that crazy dance video that she was watching or that silly recipe remix. I'm talking about the AI Slop. And I'm gonna get into that. But for those that don't know, I'm Q Harrison Terry, and every day I ask myself, what's the future? Also known as my WTF. And this is what you're watching. Usually I take notes, store them in a journal. I still do that. But in 2026, I started to get back to it and post them here. So let's go back to the topic of today. I want to talk about how AI slop is spreading beyond social media and why that matters. And so I want to go back to the whole principle of everyone knows that social media is full of garbage right now. And that's the scary part, is a lot of these people actually describe themselves as needing social media as the way at which they get their news. So imagine if the only way you knew about the world was just this convoluted garbage bin. And let's start with something obvious. Social feeds are obviously flooded with reposted content, AI generated clips, engagement bait, stuff made fast, not well. And the reason is it's not evil, it's incentives. Let's talk about that. If you are on one of the platforms, I'm not even gonna call no names out because I don't want people to get mad at me. But if you are on one of the social media platforms, you are rewarding people for speed, volume, and engagement. Not deeply well thought out content or not accurate content either. And that is the problem. If we look at what the problem is, we can actually see it everywhere and you can understand it. You can say, I get it. AI is cheap. And so you can use it to create cheap content. And here's the crazier part. Even though the AI is cheap, it's very expensive to verify if the content was AI generated. We have not reached that equilibrium where like the cost to make it and the cost to verify kind of balance each other out. It costs a magnitude of many multiples more to verify this content because in some cases you can't just run an algorithm. You might need to run several and you might need to get some human intervention. Whereby if you want to just generate something, you just go find whichever generative AI model you want to play with, make sure you got enough tokens, allot that joint, make sure your context windows is popping where it needs to be, and bang, you got it. That was speed. That was efficient. And a lot of people do it daily. Claude, ChatGPT, Olama if you run it locally, all types of stuff. And why does this matter? That matters because if you can't verify the content with the same LLM platform, you get slop. And slop is not misinformation. Slop is just simply information with no signal. Now, here's the twist, and here's where it starts to get real weird. AI tools can now generate essays, reports, research-looking documents, and I ain't gonna get into it, but they can also do them business summaries too. And why is this a problem? It's because some of this junk that it's generating is leaking into places that used to be trusted. I'm not talking about the places that you might be thinking, not social media. I'm talking about super high academic institutions, right? Systems that were designed for humans producing work slowly are now being flooded by machines producing work instantly. And you think about it, if we go to the higher academia research institutions, you know, it's more than just journals and peer-reviewed reports. They got some of the same things that social media got. Just follow me here. So on social media versus research, I got social media over here. We got likes. Okay, the research equivalent to that would be citations, right? Let's say on social media, we got virality. The research equivalent to that would be the appearance of credibility. Okay. Let's say on social media, we got engagement bait. Well, you could have on the research side, academic sounding fluff. All right. Let's say on the social media side, we got content farms. Well, on the research side, they got paper mills. Different outfits, same scam. And this is why normal people should care, right? Like, I think the people in higher academia, they know the problems they have. The people in social media, they know the problems they have. But this isn't about the science nerds. This affects everything we do, from healthcare, because, I mean, you got to get health advice. Where is that coming from? I mean, do you really want me to answer that question? Because I know a couple people that are getting their health advice from ChatGPT, which is citing some study, or better yet, citing some blog. But I also know some people that get their health advice from social media, holistic wellness, all types of meditative things. I'm not saying either one of these sources is wrong. I'm just saying that this is what people do. That's the actual habit. It's happening. And so if AI slop is invading that, that means the health advice you get online ain't gonna be popping. Product recommendations. How many product recommendations do you get from social media? And or I'm gonna say, does the higher, like, I do buy things from academic papers. I'm a weirdo, but I feel like I'm not the only weirdo. Like, if you got a pedometer, and that was the 10,000 step rules, that came from, you know, an institution. If you got the carbon plated shoes, like you're a runner, that came from research that came out of an institution. And that's just things that I'm thinking about from the active fit lifestyle. There's so many other things that come from product recommendations from the higher education system. Obviously, social media, if your friends say they like this, that you get that there. Financial info, I ain't gotta explain that. That makes a ton of sense, right? AI answers. This is a big one. When you go online, what is the AI citing? The AI is getting trained on the slop, so it's going to cite the slop, and we're already seeing it. Like ChatGPT 5.2 here recently just was found caught red-handed citing Grokpedia. I ain't got to get too much further into that, but I'm going to just put it to you like this. If the input layer gets polluted, the AI layer, which is the output layer, is also polluted. I'll say that again one more time. If the input layer gets polluted, the AI output layer is also polluted. One is saying you can't basically train on bad stuff and think you're going to get good stuff. We've covered a lot of that in just science in general, and like by this point we know. So let's get to our WTF moment. What's the future? And I think this isn't much different than some of the topics we've been talking about this week, but we're entering a world where information is abundant, but trust is scarce. In the old internet, we talked about this before. Publishing was hard, reading was easy. So you had to go to Google, and it was a hard thing to get a website, to get indexed and to get listed. But people had to go put some work in, and they had to go read and see and sort and figure out on their own what was a valuable source or not. In the new internet, publishing is effortless. Anybody can publish, right? Verification right now is the hard part. And so the future currency is not content, it's credibility. And I'm hopeful that, you know, we're going to win. And who is going to win in this future? I think it's going to be people with lived experience. I think it's going to be creators that show their work. I think it's people that have voices with track records. I think it's going to be systems that prove origins, not volume. Why? Because becoming a human and being a human is not only essential, but it is the feature that you're going to be selling. I don't think we should have AI labels everywhere. I think it's just gonna be something that people just kind of tune out, sort of like the captchas that exist on the internet, or even better yet, the pop-ups. Do you allow all these cookies? Ain't nobody really checking for them damn pop-ups. So I'm curious. I'm gonna leave y'all with a question. Do you think that it's a blessing for us to see the AI label so you don't have to think for yourself? Do you want to get to an internet where that's everywhere? Or do you think we just need to get better at filtering some of this AI generated slop and noise ourselves? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want something to read this weekend or over the coming days, I think Austin Kleon did a really good job in Show Your Work. It's an older book, and this is not sponsored by any means. It's a book that I think comes from my own lived experience, and I think that that is where the future is. I was talking to a creator earlier, and they were like, yeah, I think content creation is dead. And I was like, why? And they said, largely because content's abundant. Everyone can make content now. You can generate content, but you can't live stream. And I was like, huh. And so they were saying, yeah, content creators that want to exist in the future, they need to become live streamers. And you're starting to see it like across. This isn't a prescient take by any means. It's like the reality is like, you know, the medium has switched from being a great Twitter writer, being a great YouTuber, to now being like a live streamer or a Twitch personality. And I get that, but it kind of sucks. It does, because not everybody is going to be great at the long form, but it begs the question, if we know that being a human becomes the feature and it's the essential part of the equation, are we too out of touch with our humanity to even really even consider that future? That's also another question. I'm going to stop here. I will catch you in the future. As always, thanks for checking this out.